Okay, it is 11 o'clock, and I will call the, what month are we in? April work session to order. Welcome those that are here in person and those that are watching online. Madam Clerk, would you kindly call the roll?
Mr. Parrott,
Here.
Mr. Reed, Mr. Vincent,
Here.
Mrs. Amos,
Here.
Mr. Cole,
Here.
Mr. Dwyer,
Here.
Mr. Hunter.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. We have two different presentations, 5-minute presentations, before we begin our discussion of the ARPA funds. The Farmville Downtown Partnership and the Prince Edward Volunteer Rescue Squad. So if the Farmville Downtown Partnership would like to go first, we welcome you and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, staff. My name is Paul Hoffman, and I'm the treasurer of the Farmville Downtown Partnership. With me today are Karen Caton, our current president, and Travis Mason, our vice president. We are asking the town of Farmville to increase our funding to $45,000 from the current $30,000. And I'll go into some justifications for that. First of all, we have completely reinvigorated the board and increased our number of volunteer hours substantially. In fact, over the first quarter so far this year, we're averaging over 130 hours a month. If you're applying for a grant in today's world, they will credit you $28.50 per hour. I personally think the pay grade of our board members is higher than that. But we have developed a work plan, which was shared with you all. We've got a new budget. We're working on getting reaccreditation. During the COVID slumber, we lost our accreditation and some of our programs kind of went by the boards. Although we did continue to work with the town on the wayfinding project, which should come to fruition this May with the installation of the new signs directing people to the parking areas and the farmers market and other features of the town, making it more user-friendly. Our proposal is that we are partners together in keeping downtown Farmville historic and enhanced. And we propose to have a 3-to-1 funding ratio where we match with private money what the town and the county give, and we match with grant money as projects support an equal amount of money so that your funding will get a 3-to-1 return on investment. We currently have set a goal to raise $60,000 from the private sector, and we're fairly optimistic that we can achieve that goal. We're working with the town. We found some old plans that the Fraser Company did on revamping the parking lot across the street from the farmers market and kind of tying that together, making a better event space and improving the attractiveness of that parking lot. And so we'll be looking for some grant money to assist with that. There is a pervasive myth about funding Main Street programs, and that is that it's funded for 5 years and then they can stand on their own. It really doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way anywhere else in Virginia. In fact, we've gotten data from the Virginia Main Street office that says that for a town Farmville size, the average funding is around $45,000 a year. And in some cases, the towns actually have an assessment district that provides another $20,000 to $25,000 per year. But that funding needs to be ongoing. We look at the town and the county funding as core funding. That enables us to have a full-time staff person. Over the past 2 years, we've partnered with the Chamber of Commerce, and though that got us through the COVID, it really wasn't substantial enough to help us achieve the programs we want to achieve or to even maintain our accreditation. So we really need to have a staff person, and the core funding from the localities is what sustains that staff person. With a staff person, then it becomes much easier to apply for grants and to go out and raise private money so that we can leverage what you all invest. And that's another topic I'd like to address is we would appreciate it if you didn't look at supporting Farmville Downtown Partnership as an expense, but as an investment. If you look at downtown Farmville and the vibrancy, we certainly don't take credit for all of it, but we do believe we play a big part in it. And if you're not actively promoting your downtown, enhancing it, preserving it, then pretty soon you're seeing the decline. And it doesn't take long driving around the south side to see how bad some towns can get if you don't invest in it. So we would appreciate you looking at this as an investment and not an expense. We have some cumulative statistics that have been gathered that show that even during COVID, we added 7 new businesses, created 17 new jobs in the downtown district. So we do have a healthy downtown, and we want to maintain that. You want to maintain that because it's an important part of your tax base. Sales tax collections, meals tax collections, property tax collections all require a healthy downtown. And as downtown goes, so goes the rest of the town. So we think it all starts here, and we think it's a good investment, and we would appreciate your support. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions? If not, thank you all for coming. Thank you for all the hard work you do. We do have a fantastic downtown that we're very proud of.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you all coming today.
Thank you. We appreciate all you've done for us too in the past. Thank you.
Prince Edward Volunteer Rescue Squad, Deanna.
Good morning. I have something to share with council. Some copies of our strategic plan. 5 minutes is a lot of pressure. I'm not a fast talker. Good morning. I'm excited to share with you some great news about Prince Edward Volunteer Rescue Squad that was made possible much in part to the town's support. We have made tremendous progress. In 2021, our squad was called to service 3,677 times, with about half of those calls being within town limits. Last year, we added a junior rescue squad membership, offering high school students age 16 and up the opportunity to join and learn. We're working with local schools to share this new opportunity with students. We added 18 new volunteers, including Eddie, a Labradoodle, who will serve as our therapy dog for first responders. If you're wondering how to add a little pep in the step of your workforce, buy them a puppy for Christmas. We have reestablished a training program, and I'm excited to share with you all that last fall we hosted an EMT class with 20 students, and another class just began March 1st with 18 students enrolled. Students enrolled in our EMT course are eligible to receive National Registry EMT certification, FEMA NIMS training, CPR, and Emergency Vehicle Operations certification, along with an immersive curriculum designed to produce well-rounded students ready to put their skills to real-world application and join the workforce or volunteer force. I am also pleased to share that we have submitted our advanced EMT accreditation packet to the Virginia Office of EMS so that we can offer advanced training beyond just the scope of EMT. This accreditation process can take about 6 months to complete, and once this is approved, our goal is to offer EMT and advanced courses annually. Our ambulances are in service more than not because the town shops experienced mechanics. Trucks are back in service on average in less than a day. Prior to this, the average time a truck was out for maintenance for any repair was about 3 weeks. Thanks to the Prince Edward County Fire Association and their teamwork to ensure the county is covered for vehicle extrication, we were able to make a change to our fleet this year, and we said goodbye to our beloved Rescue 1 at the end of February. This will allow us to focus on and even expand our patient care abilities. In lieu of offering heavy vehicle extrication, we chose to focus on expanding critical care skills for our providers. We now have the ability to utilize ultrasound and rapid sequence intubation in the field. The ultrasounds help us identify traumatic injuries not necessarily yet visible to the eye, which results in more rapid intervention to unseen life threats and ultimately better patient outcomes. Rapid sequence intubation involves sedating and establishing an airway for patients with compromise due to trauma or impending respiratory failure. These practices will allow paramedics the opportunity to quickly intervene and care for critically ill patients like never before in Farmville. As part of our continued vision to be a model of excellence in promoting EMS and public health, our vision is to serve as a financially responsible partner in our community. sharing a sense of commitment with the citizens, service providers, and businesses. I've given you each a copy of our strategic plan and invite you to review and see how Prince Edward Volunteer Rescue Squad intends to maintain current successes and grow for many years to come. As the council knows, the financial circumstance of the squad was grim 2 years ago. We are making huge strides at recovery. In 2021, we received a 100% RSAF grant from Virginia Office of EMS for 6 new Toughbook computers required for patient care reporting. We also sought out and received support from the American Rescue Plan and from the Health Resources and Services Administration. We do continue to seek out diverse funding sources and creative fundraising ideas. I'm sure you have all heard about and signed up for our inaugural Chase the Ambulance 5K happening on April 16th. We're fortunate to have a community full of wonderful people who support our nonprofit mission of enhancing the quality of life for people who live in, learn in, or visit Prince Edward County by providing life-preserving care. Squad Care does remain our largest fundraiser annually, and last year we introduced Squad Care Business, a great benefit employers can offer their staff for minimal donation. Squad Care Business covers any employee while on the clock at any location within our response area. As a small, we timed that right. As a small token of Prince Edward Volunteers Rescue Squad's appreciation, I would like to present the town of Farmville a Platinum Squad Care Business membership for all of your employees, and thank you for your continued support. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Deanna. Thank you for all you've done. The
Yes.
squad is certainly a valuable part of our community, and we're very proud of where you all have come, where you all have arrived based on where you were a couple years ago. If you give it to Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we will move to the next item, which is discussion of ARPA funds. And it says the town manager will provide a report. Mr. Davis?
My report's pretty short. We had a finance committee meeting last week, and in the various discussions, one of the things I brought up is we're almost a year into having received our first round of funding, and our second round will be coming at any point in time, I think by June 30. As you know, total will get a little over $8 million in ARPA funds. The initial list I provided you, even before the public hearing of other people in the community to speak about ideas for use of those funds that would fit, was that I brought you some major projects that would be on the horizon within the year to 7 years out for our water treatment plant and our wastewater treatment plant. And in the discussion in the finance committee, it was agreed that to bring this to a work session and beginning at various work sessions, moving strategically on what we would use those funds for. I can tell you that it would, what we could complete with the list that you've been provided at the water treatment plant and wastewater treatment plant would take, as I said, 1 to 7 years over time in capital improvements to get those accomplished, and continue to reduce our reserve funds in those in the water and sewer fund. And I would just suggest that council be agreeable at this point that we're not going to be the only locality in this area or throughout the United States looking to do these types of improvements for our water and wastewater, and that we start putting out some bids for this, the work that needs to be done, because I do think that by using the ARPA funds and getting these in with that funding over the next 3 years would be a better use of those funds than and we could continue to build our capital so that when we have issues later on, that we have reserve funds and greater to tackle those problems down the road. We have to, and I say that because by 2024, we have to have stated with the federal government what we are going to use those funds for, and by 2026, they have to be expended. It's not a whole lot. It sounds like a whole lot of time, but it's not when you're talking about these types of construction projects, improvement projects. In order to get all the RFPs out, it's going to be multiple companies. It's not going to be one for each of these, and to expend that money by that time. So what I'm asking today is to move forward and start tackling these and putting out RFPs for these needed capital improvements.
What's the total cost of water and wastewater?
What you have before you is a little over $3 million.
I know this issue's come up before, but I think it's worthy of asking again. There are no other entities out there that offer grant opportunities for this type of thing, that we could get other grants to do this and use the ARPA funds for other things. In fact, I think that was raised in a meeting that you and I were in a year or so ago.
Yeah. For the actual treatment plants per se, I'm not aware of any. I'm not going to tell you 100% that there's not, but the superintendents of those plants have not brought any information of that type that would be available.
Questions, gentlemen, ladies? Some of these things are very interesting. I'm clueless as to what they do. It's interesting in going through the list. An oxidation tank is pretty expensive, isn't it?
It is, but it's also very important. One of the things that oxidation tank will do, according to Kathy, is one, obviously give us better quality water, but we have a manganese problem in that at different times of the year we have to put more chemical to treat that manganese. And it has to do with when we had to move the chlorine intake from one area of the plant to the other several years back. With this oxidation tank, it will help alleviate some of the amounts of chemical that we have to use to help that manganese problem that we have. And I will tell you that as you look in the proposed budget when I present it next week, you'll notice that just like a lot of other things, because of the transportation, but also the making of the chemical, that expense has almost or has doubled in cost in the last year.
I have no problem with the list or moving forward with the list, but I would like to know if there is any grant opportunity out there, just to be sure.
Yeah, I can definitely ask them to look into those on each or on any of these items.
Will any of the proposed things here improve water quality or taste, or will they have any impact on when I turn my spigot on and the quality of what comes out of it?
Will the average person be able to tell? Probably not. But as far as from a chemical and biological standpoint, yes. I mean, one of them, the oxidation tank, was a perfect example. But it also, the process that they're making or treating the water, they're not making water, treating the water will be better. I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, the problem is, yes, and I use water because it's the older plant. It was built in 1975. Has there been improvements? Yes, there has. Has there been changes to be made because of regulations? Yes. However, a perfect example is they came to me 2 weeks ago, and the elevator that carries all of this heavy chemicals and everything else is on its last leg, and there is no replacement parts for it. They could get a new switch and some other stuff. However, it's over. The elevator itself is over 50, almost 50 years old. Yeah. So we're going to replace that. Obviously, instead of just fixing something that might last a year, might last 6 months, might last 2 years, I think we got our useful life out of almost 50-year-old elevator. And that's what I've tried to tell them, and is that I'm not looking to just fix it for a short period of time and then come back and spend more money to replace what we just fixed a few years ago because something else broke. I want them to look at what is going to serve us best. Yes, it may cost more money in the front end, but what is going to cost how is it going to benefit us long term when we do this replacement, instead of just looking at it from the short term to fix the immediate problem.
We've always had a good water system, and we've had no complaints about taste. We've had no boil notices. Other communities have not been so lucky, and so I think it's money well spent. I think in the 70s, our forefathers before us here had a lot of insight in putting in a first-rate water facility. I think it's served the town well the last 50 years. So I think it's, again, money well placed to upgrade it. Any other discussions, comments? Anything else on that, Mr. Davis?
No, this is just the beginning. I'll have a lot of other items to bring before you. As I said, from a recreational standpoint, we think we can use some of this money for the benefit of the community. We've talked about a splash pad, so we're pricing that and bring that to the council. We're looking at some other infrastructure, such as, we have the roundabout that'll be going in a few years. We need to look at, that's the oldest part of town. We need to do a study, use some of this money to study lines that are on cloth maps that aren't exactly maybe 100%, and make sure that what we're dealing with is accurate, and look at replacing those lines and how can we reconfigure them before the state puts in this brand new roundabout and then we dig up their pavement a month later because something breaks. So we have some of those things that'll be coming to infrastructure and then to council, but I think we need to get somewhere on a starting point to move forward and get this planned out, because if not, we're not going to meet the deadline to provide them what we're going to spend it on and also spend it by 2026.
All right, anybody else have anything? Anything else? Mr. Reed's not with us today. He's having a procedure. We wish him well. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting is adjourned.